Hey everyone, Dr. Zeo here again, and today we're here to talk about Power Rangers Cosmic Fury Episode 4, Teamwork. As always, we're going to start off with our summary, likes, dislikes, and then our conclusion. So this is actually a pretty simple episode. As we mentioned in yesterday's episode review, the Rangers are off to Levina to track down Zayto. Mick says he tracked down Zayto's energy signature to Levina, or Levina, one of the two, and unfortunately, Ollie and his crew of Squillia's dance crew get there first, and they are able to find Mick, and they more or less capture him with the Sentinels. And Ollie sends a Mega Squid Drill, or a Squid Drill in robot formation to the one city on Levina. At the same time, the Rangers pop up, they destroy one of the remaining Squid Drills there, and then they morph, fight Ollie and his mooks of forgettable villains, save Mick, Ollie, and one of the mooks called, Snoutia. There we go. Snoutia teleport away. And then the Rangers, they convene, they go into this forest, they figure out that the forest is actually sentient. So it's all, Levina is basically just one giant forest and then one small little city. And across the different trees, shrubbery, all that kind of stuff, that's all connected. So into one mind for that forest. So there are some hijinks that ensue between Ion and the forest. Ion's trying to pick some fruits off the tree. And basically we do end up finding Zayto, who's basically crash landed onto the planet and then kind of stumbled into the forest. And the forest saw that Zayto didn't have much time left. So it kind of sucked him into a tree, a glowing tree that is, and healed him and just kept him safe until now. So basically all that happens, the Rangers find Zayto, or Ion finds Zayto specifically. The other Rangers, including Mick, go off to fight the Squid Drill robot in the city. They beat it, Ollie teleports away. Mick leaves in the Hawk Cosmic Fury Resort to go check on his planet because he says that they might need a Red Ranger right now. Basically wants to make sure that they're safe. And they go off with Zayto to, elsewhere. And that's basically the summary of the episode. So let's go ahead and talk about my likes for this episode. So my first like for the episode is the morphing sequence. We saw a preview of the morphing sequence at the end of the previous episode, but now we get to see the full thing in all its glory. Basically, they still say, Link to Morphing Grid at the end of it, but between Link to Morphing Grid and its morphin time, they say Cosmic Fury Orb, and they summon the orb and they spin it on their finger, and it shows their little, dinosaur beast within the orb itself. And then they put the orb into the morpher, link to morphing grid, and then from there we get the standard morphing sequence. And all of it looks fantastic. The fight itself was also pretty good, although, again, I'm still not a fan of these suits. They're not really growing on me. I've mentioned all this time and time again, so I won't really, belabor the point here. But basically, I'm just not a fan of them. There's too much dead space in the middle, and I think the shields is too high on the neck, so it really appears that they don't really have much of a neck in these suits. But nonetheless, the fight itself is good. I did enjoy seeing the suits in action, as well as seeing the Rangers with their new weapons. That all looked fantastic. Ollie himself also got a new Ranger form from Scrozzle. That was the thing that Scrozzle gave him at the end of the previous episode. And basically, it's the standard Dino Fury Blue Ranger outfit with a Dino Battle armor that's more or less black. And he has black horns on his Triceratops helmet. It looks good. We also get a live action or a real-time morph from Ollie where he says link to morphing grid and he slams the ground and the ground kind of erupts in a blue aura, and then he flash morphs into this new evil blue Dino Fury Ranger. Now it all looks fantastic. As I mentioned last season when we were reviewing Dino Fury season 1 and 2, I really wanted to see them utilize that, ground pound in a practical way in the show. So to see Ollie use it at this point in time, while he doesn't actually use it in an offensive way against the enemy, just a flashy maneuver, I still appreciate it being in real time. And I'm hoping that maybe we get some sort of real-time morph from the Cosmic Fury Rangers before the season's over. On the search for Zayto, once we actually find Zayto himself, he actually has a really cool outfit. It has a belt buckle, it's a gray, a two-tone gray, a dark gray, light gray kind of sash outfit. it looks very good and helps distinguish himself or differentiate himself from the other Rangers. One thing also to note about Zayto is that once they save Zayto, Ion says thank you to the forest, and the forest says you're welcome, basically, and that for Zayto to cherish the time that he has left. It leaves kind of an ominous message there. Additionally, Ion couldn't mind meld with Zayto. The episode makes a point to show Ion and Amelia mind melding. That's basically when they touch an object or another person and they're able to see the memories and that kind of thing. That's how they were able to see Zayto, and they were able to touch the branches of the forest, and they were able to see Zayto coming in through the portal on Zornia and then crash landing here on Levina. And that crash land looked great. The CGI was good, and seeing Zayto with like a broken helmet looked fantastic. Seeing his broken Chroma Fury saber in that crater, also fantastic. I'm always down to see any sort of battle damage, but that was good. Zayto's new outfit looks fantastic, and even his Zenith Ranger form that he gets later on in the episode at the end when he morphs for the first time, good. Have no complaints about that whatsoever. Additionally, Zayto's actual weapon is Master Red's staff. So now he is able to control the Morphin Master staff. So I don't know if it's just Master Red's staff or if that applies to other Morphin Master staff. So for now, we'll just say it applies specifically to Master Red's staff. So we'll see how he's able to utilize those powers of what might come with it later on in the season. But for now, it's cool to see that his actual weapon is Master Red's staff. That's dope. That's really, really dope, and it's kind of like a more unique Zenith Ranger thing. They also ask him why he calls himself the Zenith Ranger, and he responds with that's what the Morphin Masters called him when they revived him. So, another mystery to Zayto's whole revival, and this even carries on into the final moments of the episode, where Ion holds Amelia back for a second while the other Rangers are checking out the cockpit of the completed ship, and oh yeah, they completed the ship, now they can fly. So they completed the cockpit of the ship, now they're going into actually fixing everything and basically converting the Dino Henge base into a proper ship so they can go from Eridus back to Earth and help everyone over there. But basically, Ion holds Amelia back and he tells her that, hey, I couldn't mind meld with Zayto. Something's not right. And even the tree said for Zayto to enjoy the time that he has left. And she kind of, blows it off, basically asking, saying, what would a forest know about Ravkonian biology? And the fact that we brought this up multiple times at this point, it is a very curious thing, and it seems to be it's going to be the overarching mystery behind Zayto, his revival, and all that kind of stuff, and what the Morphin Masters did when they brought him back from the grid, or for the rest of the season. I can't wait to see what happens once we actually get any answers and what exactly Zayto's status is going to be. The last like I have for this episode is that during the fight between the Rangers and the forgettable dance crew villains, Amelia does use her hammer and she slams the ground with it, and it creates practical explosions, which looks really cool. That said, I also didn't like this because the practical explosions were just for show. It doesn't actually connect with Ollie or Snoutia. It doesn't actually do anything. It doesn't do any damage to them. I'm like, it's cool to have those practical explosions, but it's also really nice if it would have connected with them or at least blown them back or something. At this point, I'm just like, why'd she do that then? Like, if it wasn't supposed to actually do anything, it didn't serve any actual purpose. But speaking of my dislikes, let's go ahead and segue into that real quick. So, the dance crew, whose names I really can't be bothered to remember aside from Snoutia, because they're not important. They all get beaten by the Rangers within a minute and a half. They're not important. They weren't interesting. They're not important. They were somewhat funny on the ship, but that is the extent of it. I didn't like them. I didn't like them at all. I felt like they were just kind of a waste of time. It would have been more interesting if Ollie just went there by himself, or if he went there with Squillia, but she's off on Earth, doing her thing over there. So I understand why he didn't go with her. But again, I understand that, Ollie wanted to adopt Ranger tactics and go as a team to kind of, because the Rangers have had victory after victory after victory. So it makes sense to go as a team to kind of mimic their tactics. But I feel like he would have had a more effective team had he chosen anyone else besides that forgettable dance crew. Additionally, I also didn't like, at the end of the episode, basically we find out that Lord Zed's taken over Eltar and made that his home base. That's cool. I love that. I love that we're finally visiting Eltar. What I don't like is that in the middle of the conversation between Ollie and Zed, he mentions, this was Zoran's planet. This would be a lot sweeter victory if Zoran was still alive to see his people, get taken over. I'm like, that's cool. That's great. I would have loved to actually see that process. Maybe not the entire process of Lord Zed taking over Eltar, but just show me some Eltarians. And maybe we'll return to Eltar later on in the season, and maybe we'll get to see what Eltarians look like proper within the show. But for now, I'm kind of disappointed we didn't get to see Eltarians in this context. And my last dislike for the episode was the CGI on Ion and Amelia's antennae. They used their antennae a lot throughout this episode, from mind melding with the tree to mind melding with Zayto, and the CGI just wasn't it. It just was not it. It looked really, really bad in this scene. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they focused so much on the antennae in these specific scenes, and usually we don't get to linger on them for too long before we actually see the memories of whatever they're touching. So yeah, it didn't look good. It didn't look good at all. But let's go ahead and talk about my conclusion, which again, I'll just read from my script. So this was another good episode of Power Rangers Cosmic Fury, though this definitely feels like a step down from the previous, 3 episodes at this point. I enjoyed the antics between Ion and the forest, the ominous vibe around Zayto's revival, and the fight between the new Cosmic Fury Rangers, as well as the dance crew. But the bad antennae CGI and annoying, forgettable dance crew made this episode less enjoyable compared to the others. Still though, as a whole, Cosmic Fury is doing very, very well. It's setting up multiple mysteries, whether it's what Lord Zed's final plan is going to be, how the Rangers are going to get out of this situation and save Earth, as well as any other planets that Squid Inc. has conquered, and basically how they're going to get the Morphomasters back, and what Zayto's whole dealio is. And I can't wait to see how all of this pans out over this 10-episode run. But that's all I have for today. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comment section below. As always, please like the video, like the audio, comment, rate it on wherever you might be listening to this or watching this on YouTube, because it does help with the YouTube algorithm. Also subscribe too, because again, that does help. But otherwise, hope you all have a good day. Hope you all stay safe. I'm Dr. Zeo, and I'll see you all in the next one. Ciao.